Okay, so we are going to start with lab number 2. Prepare the environment for Microsoft Teams deployment. Let's first start with the exercise number 1, which has manage guest access for Microsoft Teams. So let's go to Entra Admin Center. We are already on the Entra Admin Center, and we'll go to users, and in the user settings we have options for manage external collaboration settings. So guest user access, we can select guest users have limited access to properties and memberships of directory objects. Anyone in the organization can invite guest users, including guests and non-admins, then allow invitations to be sent to any domain. Okay, so these are the default settings that we are going to keep. Ensure that these are selected. Now let's go to Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and we are logged in as mod administrator already. And we are going to go to settings, show all, and then we have settings over here. In the settings, we can over here we can see Microsoft 365 backup organization settings. Here under services, we have to make sure that let group owners add people outside your organization to Microsoft 365. And this will be under the Microsoft 365 page, manage external sharing and owner lists. Let group owners and add people outside the organization to Microsoft 365 groups as guest, and let guest members access group content, right? Then under the security and privacy tab, select sharing, and here you have let to make sure this is enabled, let users add new guests to the organization. Okay, so you will check for this. Now once we have reviewed the guest access settings, we can configure the guest access in Teams. So let's go to Teams Admin Center, and we will log in as Joni Sherman, that we are already logged in. Here we have guest access. Make sure this is enabled. If not, guest access should be on. And you have under the messaging section over here, delete the sent messages. Okay, you have to disable this setting. Okay, and you can see other settings are also there. Delete chat capability. If you don't want this chat to be deleted for your users, you can also do that. Memes in conversations, stickers. Okay, so guest settings have been activated over here. Me some chat settings also. You can make sure that private calls or that can be also controlled. Now let's invite a guest user to the group after work, that the group that we have created, the teams that we have created, right? So let's go to client number 2. We have desktop client signed as Alex Wilbur, and here let's go to our group after work, and here we are going to add a member. Or let's say let me add my personal account, Microsoft account. If it finds another domain, then it will ask you to add this person as a guest. Okay, so let's add this. And let's access in a new private window. Or let's say let's make an Outlook login quickly. I'm going to use my personal Microsoft account that we have added as guest over there. Let me sign in another way using another method of verification. Let me add a password instead. And let us text, use this option to text my number. Two 53926. Okay, let's okay, I can see that I have received a guest request. Let's go to the inbox, and there are some emails over here. So an email will be sent, okay, when you are adding a guest user to your Teams environment. Now after this, you will see this Teams, and here you can see the pending invites. for those users, right? So let me quickly confirm the invite from my Outlook app. Okay, let us do one thing. Sign in using the so there will be a mail that you've been added as a guest to Contoso in Microsoft Teams. That kind of mail will be there, and the group name, the group after work. Okay, so you will be able to see that team. So here we will select general channel, post and channel, let's say hello. Here also start a post. Now here you won't find, or let me go back to the Alexis group. So you don't have any option to delete the message, right? Because we have done it for the guest users. They shouldn't be able to delete the messages. And that's for group after work. There is no delete option, right? So let's create access reviews now. So for this we will need to go to client one machine, and let's go to Entra Admin Center. Under identity governance we have an option, identity governance. We have an option to create access reviews. Here we are going to create new access review. And we are going to make it for teams and groups, all Microsoft 365 groups with guest users, and the scope we will only set it to the guest user. On the review page and the select reviewers option, we are going to select let's say group owners, and in the review occurrence we will select, let's say, weekly, and rest of the things we will keep it default. Okay, that will be the start date. The access will never expire. On the settings, leave all the settings as default. Auto apply results to resource, then no sign in within 30 days. Enable reviewer decision helpers, right? Justification required, email notifications, reminders, all these things you can be updated. And we are going to create an access review. So now over here we'll be able to see a report, review guest access across Microsoft. So here you have feedback reviewers as resource owners. In the overview page, you can see we can select no access review. You can see the groups that will be visible. So under the group's name, have guest user only that we have selected for this access review. Let me just refresh the page. Okay. Review name, that's the report. Mail notification, reminders, scheduling when completed. These are some settings that will be visible. So group after work is not listed over here. This will be available in some time. Let me just complete the login. Let's sign in using the Alex's user ID and password. So we have opened Outlook for Alex, and here you will see that action required. Please review group access. Right, so you can start a review from here. It will redirect you to the myaccess.microsoft.com page where you can review the guest access across Microsoft 365 groups. Okay, so you can see that's myaccess.microsoft.com. You can check the review guest access across the Microsoft 365 groups. You will get an option to approve or deny. Right, so for this user, approve the request, and you also have to give the reason over here. So the guest access review was reviewed by Alex Wilbur, and it will be visible over here. Approved. Now next is implementing security for Microsoft C. So let's go to, let me just close this pages over here, and on the client one machine we are going to log into the Defender portal, which is security.microsoft.com, and here we are going to do some Office 365 security policies. So Microsoft Defender for 360, Microsoft Defender 365, we have here Microsoft Defender for Office 365 as a part, which is a part of Microsoft Defender 365. So here we'll access okay, let this load completely, and we are logged in using the mod administrator. Let me refresh this again. We should be able to see an email and collaboration section. Okay, so let's go to email and collaboration section over here, and let's go to policy and rules. Here we have thread policies. We have to enable policy for safe attachment. Safe attachments, and here we are going to select global settings, turn on Defender for 365 for SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, turn on save documents for, if you want to activate this as well, you can also do that. Save it. So this is implementing security for Microsoft Teams. Now the next part is implementing compliance for Microsoft Teams. Right, so we need to go to client one, we are already on it, and let's open PowerShell. I'll just put the password quickly. And here we'll give some commands. We're already logged in because those modules are already added. So let's say connect Azure AD. Quickly signing in as mod admin account. So first we are going to fetch the group settings for the Entra ID organization. And then we are going to enable the Microsoft Identity Protection support in this configuration. get some values that we have configured, setting values. So this is what we have done, right? And then we are going to save and change the apply the settings for that on our directory, and then disconnect Azure AD. Now let's go to Microsoft Purview portal. Let me open this Purview portal. You can say that it is used for data protection. Okay, so you can either manage the things from the Purview portal, or you can also do it from PowerShell. So let's say we are going to install module Microsoft Graph, which will be required. Okay, let me just paste this command again. And I'm going to give prompt as yes to all, and then we are going to connect to the Microsoft Graph. This is going to install the module from the PowerShell gallery for the Microsoft Graph. Okay, so let this complete. Okay, let me open again. Let us open PowerShell IEC to make it faster. So that completes our task number 1, activate sensitivity labels for Teams. So this module is installed, and now we are going to connect to the environment. Signing in as administrator, and the password accept on behalf of the organization. Now we are connected, and you can see that, and we will give another set of commands where we are going to store this value in a variable for getting the meta directory settings. And here are so we are assigning the new setting over here, mg beta directory setting. Okay, let's see that. Get mg. So this is like basically we are enabling the MIP labels which we have already done. Right. Now let's go to our Purview portal, and we will create a sensitivity label over here called as internal. Create a label. The label name will be internal. Display name also will be internal. Description for users, internal information with sharing protection. And for admins, internal information with moderate encryption, marking and sharing restriction settings activated. On the next page, we are going to define the scope for this label, where it is going to use. So you can see that all the areas, files and other data assets, emails, meetings and groups and sites. Then protection settings for the type of items that you have selected. Apply content marking, control access as well, and protect the meetings and chats. The rest, all the settings, we can keep it as it is. Now on the access control page, we will be able to assign permissions now. Okay, user access to content expires never. Allow all offline access always, and assign permissions. We will add all users and groups in the organization. Save. You can also use dynamic watermarking, double encryption. These options are available. Now next page, content marking. You can add a watermark, you can customize the text, and let's say internal use only. That's the watermark. Okay. Font size and all other settings we can do. Let's leave it as it is. We can add a footer. Here also we are going to add the same text, internal use only, and the next page, rest we leave it as default. On the next page, settings for Teams meeting and chat, you can do who can bypass the log, who can present, who can record and transcribe. These are some control watermarks. Don't apply watermark to the share content or these things. Let's leave it as it is for files and emails. Here define protection settings. We will select privacy and external user access, external sharing and conditional access. Privacy, we are going to set it as none. External user access, let's Microsoft 365 group owners add people outside your organization to the group address. This should be enabled. Control external sharing from label SharePoints, and content can be shared with anyone or existing guests. Use Microsoft conditional access policies to protect the labeled SharePoint sites. Allow limited web access only. You have these three options: allow full access from desktop apps, mobile apps and the web, allow limited web access only, or block access completely. Okay, so we are done creating the label. It will give an option to to publish the label as well once it is created. And do we want to publish it? So we can just cancel it at this moment. Don't create a policy yet, so we can do that. Auto labeling policy. We have second label of confidential, and we can edit this as well. Let's say this one for all the employees. Edit the label. Here you'll be able to change the name for all the employees, label priority, and these are the descriptions available. Leave unchanged and description also. We can set the scope from here, so I'm going to select group and sites as well. Control access, apply content marking, and in the access control page, assign permissions now. And what are the permissions? Allow user access to content expire never. Offline access never. Assign permissions to all the users and group in the organization. And the content marking page, add a watermark confidential, and that's it. Auto labeling for files in emails will be okay on the next page. This is for settings for Teams and chats. We will leave it as default. Groups and sites, privacy and external sharing and conditional access. Again, this will be set to select private over here, and let the users okay, this will be kept at default. Then here, control access sharing from the label SharePoints, external sharing. So here you can select only the people in your organization. Yeah, and save the label. So we have just updated this label. Now we are going to label publishing policies. Whatever labels we have created, we were going to publish it. Global sensitivity label policy, we can edit this one. So here you have to choose the sensitivity labels that you want to publish. You will select all the labels. Okay, like that. Add it. You can assign admin units over here. Leave as it is. Publish to users and groups as it is. Policy settings. Keep the default settings over here. User must provide a justification to remove a label or lower its classification. Apply a default label that is for documents. So we will stick with this one, unrestricted. Apply a default label to documents. Apply a default for emails, default label. So yeah, that's selected for all employees, unrestricted. Here also, meetings and calendars, leave as it is. For the sites and groups, we are going to select internal label. Apply a default to their sites or groups. Now this is for Fabric and Power BI content. Again, we are going to select all employees unrestricted, and we are going to okay, submit the policy. So we have created and published 3 sensitivity labels available for users, which can be assigned to new and existing teams. Now this sensitivity labels, they take some time to be visible. So we are going to client 2, where we are signed in as Alex Wilbur on this desktop client. So let's go to Teams rollout. And here we have an option to edit the team. Okay, let's say so teams and channel, Teams rollout, manage team, and then just go to the settings tab, create edit. Here you can apply the sensitivity labels. Right, so internal will take some time to get published over here. right? You will select that and we can click on done to apply the sensitivity label, right? So let's proceed further because that will be visible after 24 hours. So this is how we apply the sensitivity label. Okay, now let's go to uh, on the Alex Wilbur. You will add a member over here and let's add the guest user email that we have added. You can control the guest permissions over here, allow guests to create and update channels or allow guests to delete the channels. Those things you can control. Now we can create a new retention policy to retain the content. So let's go to client 1. Again, the retention policies are configured in the data lifecycle management solution. Okay, and we'll go to policies, retention policies, create a new retention policy, sales retention. We will add a description also. It's a retention policy for sales department that will retain channel messages for 7 years. We will select where to apply the policy, so we will leave it as default settings. Exchange may, we will keep this off. This is also one-time accounts, mail boxes, Skype, Exchange, public, Teams channel and messages. Okay, let me start from again. We are on retention policies. Let's create a retention policy. Okay. And what type of policy that we want, adaptive or static policy. So we're going to select that. Let's keep it adaptive. Here we can add the scopes. Okay. So add scopes. Okay, we are going to keep it static and we will apply it to Teams channel and messages. Rest of all will be keeping off. Teams private, Teams channel messages will keep enabled for this and rest of the things will keep it off. So Teams channel messages should be retained. Okay, that we will select. Retain items for a specific period of time. Retain items or start the period based on, like, let's say 7 years after the modification. Delete items automatically or do nothing. So 7 years when the last items were last modified, what you want to do, delete items automatically or do nothing. Okay, that you can select. Retain items forever, only delete items when they reach a certain age. So you can define an age over here. Okay, delete content based on when they were last modified or whatever it is. Or retain only for a specific period. So that you can select according to your requirement. Then we are going to submit this. It will take up to a week to apply this policy to the locations that you have selected. Okay, let's keep it default. Um, Only delete after a certain period. Or let's say, okay, so this is how we configure a retention policy. Then we'll create a new policy to delete the content, Teams rollout deletion policy. Retention policy for the Teams rollout to delete messages older than a day. And then the next we are going to keep the settings, the scope of the type of the policy as static. And then we are going to select like we are going to keep off for all, and we are going to enable it for only the Teams channel messages. Okay, then in here we are going to update some settings, decide if you want to retain content, delete it, or both. Only delete items when they reach at a certain age, and you can define a custom period over here, 1 day older. Okay, 0 years, 0 months, and that's for 1 days. Delete the content based on when items when created, and this is for creating an items older than 1 day. And we have it for Teams channel messages. Okay, that is updated. We'll do only for Teams rollout group. And we are not looking for 1 years, we are only doing for 1 days older. So this is how we are going to create a retention policy. In order to test the policy, it will take some time, like after the 24 hours, and you will verify that the content has been automatically deleted. So let's create a DLP policy from the scratch. Let's go to data loss prevention. Okay, select policies, and then we are going to create a policy from scratch. Data stored in connected sources, what type of data that you want to protect, or data in browser and network activity. So we want to protect the data in connected sources. And here we are going to select a custom policy that we are creating. Here, let's name it as credit card data DLP policy, and the description will be data loss prevention policy for credit card and teams. Here we can assign admin units. So what locations we are going to assign, apply this policy. Keeping all this on and rest of the things off. Then policy settings, create or customize advanced DLP rules. We are going to configure some advanced DLP rules. So let's create rule 1, and that will be about credit card numbers found. Description, basic rule for protecting credit card numbers forms being shared in teams. Let's add a condition over here, and that condition will be content contains, here we can leave it default, sensitive information types. Let's search for credit card numbers. And if you want, you can add multiple rules. So the confidence, let's keep it high, and instance count as 1. That will be remaining unchanged. Here in the actions, where you can also add exceptions where the rules won't apply. You can add actions over here, restrict access or encrypt the content in Microsoft 365 locations. And we'll select use notification to inform your users and help educate them on the proper use of sensitive info. Here, block users from receiving mail or accessing SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams files, and Fabric and Power BI items. Either you can block everyone or block only people outside the organization. So let's keep block everyone. And in the user notifications, we can select the slider on notify users in Microsoft 365, which is, okay, this is for endpoint devices, Microsoft 365 files and Fabric items. So notify the users who sent, shared, or last modified the content, or notify these people, only selected people. So you can select that. Attach matching email message to the notification, applies to only Exchange. That's for Exchange. If you want to customize the policy tip, you can also customize it over here, please. So customize the policy tip. Credit card numbers are not allowed to be shared. That will be the tip that will be visible for them. Show the policy tip as a dialog for the end user before send, or provide a compliance URL. And then what will be the incident reports? Send an alert to admins when a rule matches. This we can keep to off. Then additional options for evaluate rule per component, set the order, the priority of this rule, use email incident reports to notify only when a policy match occurs. That will create an email incident report. Okay, let's save this, set policy settings, and on the next page we are going to turn the policy immediately and submit that. Now we are going to test the DLP policy. To make sure your policies are working as expected, you need to perform some testing also with the pilot user, and this is done. So let's go to client 2. It can take up to 24 hours for the policies to take effect. Okay, so we will check that, we will test that after some point of time. Right, let's wait for it. Now next task or next exercise is to prepare the network deployment. Teams provides users with chat, audio, video, content sharing in different conditions. It also includes variable codecs where media can be negotiated in limited bandwidth environments. So as a Teams administrator, you will need to plan your network bandwidth because there are other Office 365 services and third-party apps that also need a reliable network connection. Therefore, Teams administrator must have tools that could help to estimate the bandwidth consumption according to the business requirements. So let's go back to our client number 1, and we are going to calculate the network bandwidth capacity. So in our Teams admin center, to create a network plan, we just go to planning and network planner. So here we are going to add a network plan. The name will be Contoso plan, and the description, let's keep it as Contoso Teams network plan. Then create a custom personas, whether it is for office worker, remote worker, Teams rooms on Windows. So here persona name we'll just give it as for calling only, specialized calling only employees, and apply this. So you can also see what are the default personas recommended by Microsoft. Now we'll just see on the network plans, we'll just go to Contoso plan and add a network site over here. So the site name will be, let's say, New York HQ site, and we'll also add a description, then how many network users, let's say 1000, and what is a subnet. So let's say subnet starts from 172.16.0.0 and the network range is 16, right? So there's many IP addresses, and then whether you are using the express route, internet link capacity, whether connected to WAN, internet egress, or PSTN egress. Okay, PSTN egress will keep it use VoIP, voice over internet protocol. Internet link capacity we will add 1000 Mbps, and let's save this. Okay, so these are some network sites that we have added. Then we can add one more site. Maybe in your organization you'll be having multiple sites. So here let's create it one for Los Angeles site, add a description, how many users are there, let's say 250, and the IP address will be this, and the network range is 24. Express route, make sure this is off because this is a connected WAN link capacity, let's say 500. Audio queue size is 100. then 200 video queue size. Local internet address, or we can keep it this or default, and PSTN use via IP only, right? And we'll save it. One more we are going to create for Houston office for Contoso. One more site, one more location, and Houston site network infrastructure. So we can give the description over here. And the network users, let's say 150, subnet 192.168.20.0, and the network range. Let's keep this off, and the rest of the things, let's say we connect WAN link capacity 400, and audio queue size 50, video queue size, let's say keep it 100, and rest of the things we'll keep it default. Let's save this. So we have created 3 network sites. Now we're going to create a report and start a report. Let's say here we'll add a report name, Contoso report, description, Contoso network estimation report, and here under the network site, persona and network users. Right, so we have to update this information. Let's say we'll add calling persona, calling only. Okay, and this is for which site? Okay, so the Houston site, we are going to add, let's say 100 workers. Los Angeles, we are going to add 200. Sorry, calling only 200. Then for New York, okay, let's keep it 50. Okay, and let's generate a report to estimate the network bandwidth. Okay, so this is how we'll get it. For 250 network users, for 400, for 1050, for the sites that you have added. So under the projected impact of Microsoft Teams, you can see the impact of Microsoft Teams on the Contoso network infrastructure by analyzing the report results on the bandwidth needed for audio, video, screen sharing, Microsoft 365 traffic, and PSTN. You can also view it in the chart format like that. Okay, to display the results in different views. You can create it as a full screen, export it to PDF. Okay, you can save it. So the allowed bandwidth shows how much of your overall traffic is reserved for the real-time communications. 30% in the recommended threshold, and by changing this value, you can see the different impacts on this way. 30% is the recommended one. Changes the different impacts of the bandwidth of your network. Any areas that need more bandwidth will be highlighted in red. Okay, like this. And some parameters need to be modified in the network planner and verify the different results. Okay, so you can add different input data and you can see the different results. Now let's talk about the Microsoft 365 network connectivity test tool. Right, so let's go to connectivity.office.com.azure portal. Network, that's a network connectivity test here we can perform. We are already signed in, so here as a administrator. So add your location, and let's say we're going to add, you can just type your location, say India. Okay. And run the test. The application requires .NET Core installed. If you want a client test application for this, that is also available. Network testing. So it is going to give us an application, a tool that we can install it on our device, and it can test the perform test on the device. So let's wait for it.